So, good morning, everybody, and welcome back to session 2 of Awaken Your Intuition, Develop Your Psychic Skills and Learn to Channel. It's so lovely to have you all here. It's great. What I wanted to start off with today is I want to just go around the group. What I want to hear from you is what you think your clair senses are. So remember, everybody is predominant in one or the other. I'm clairvoyant and clairsentient mostly, okay? So I want to hear from you. You should all have one or two or maybe even more, but at least we need to be aware of what you think your one is at the moment so that I can tailor the course to suit the group more explicitly than I have done. So I want to hear about that. And the other thing I want you to talk about is, do you meditate? Did you try meditating through the week? I put a link on that page too, called Meditation to Twin Souls by Master Chow Kok Sui, who is the father of pranic healing. And it's a particularly good meditation because it goes for about 30 minutes and it balances all of your chakras and it helps you channel, because what he's doing is he's getting you to channel energy through your hands. In the middle of the meditation, he says, imagine that there's a ball in front of you and it's the earth, and channel energy through the top of your crown, out of your hands. My hands are tingling now already, just even talking about it, into that earth. And so you get to practice channeling energy as part of that meditation. So if you haven't done it yet, have a go at it. But I want to hear whether people can actually meditate or not, because that's really important to the work that we're doing. So I'm going to start off with Anne-Marie. What are your clairs, Anne-Marie?
I don't really know the names of my clairs. Sorry, I always get confused with those.
Okay, so clear seeing, clear hearing, clear knowing,
clear seeing, clear hearing.
So you reckon you're clairvoyant?
Yeah, I hear things, I get messages through, I see things through my mind's eye.
So you also, you hear, do you hear in your own voice or a different voice?
I don't actually, it's a hard one. I don't actually hear a voice, but I get a message. I don't know what that is.
Okay, so that's probably clear sentient, clear feeling, or clear knowing, which is clear cognizant.
Right.
Well, we're using words here, but what we're actually talking about, right, is channeling. Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm going to put you down for clear feeling.
I also read people through their photos and especially their eyes.
Okay, so I do that too. So what I'm doing when I'm doing that is I'm channeling, right? Because I don't know anything about that person and I'm always right. It really astounds
me. Yeah, me too. It's very scary, actually.
It doesn't work when I'm online dating, by the way. It doesn't work at all.
Yeah, I can't do it for myself. Definitely
I wasn't meant to know whatever that stuff
and
was.
I also, and this is, I don't like telling too many people this, but I'm also a bit of a medium as well. Like I have people from the other side come through.
You talk to dead relatives?
Absolutely. Yeah, for other people, not for me. But definitely. I've had someone visit me in the bath when I was in the bath once, about to do a live. I used to run a little page, my own page, and come through to me with the story of fire, and she kept saying, fire in the hole, you know who I am. And then it turned out it was a friend that had passed away from one of my schoolmates. So and then
when they come through when you're in the bath or the toilet peaks, they can't see that you're naked, by the way. I just want to
good. I was wondering about that. I thought, do you mind just kind of stepping outside till I put some clothes on?
I can't see you. It's energy, right? They're connected with you energetically.
Yeah, I don't see them when they come through. I just feel them. And but I have seen stuff before too. So
that's cool. So what about the meditation, Anne-Marie? Do you meditate?
Yes, I do meditate, and I'm very well practiced at meditating. Have I done it recently? Not really, but
but you can.
Absolutely. I was a member of a healing circle at Clarencetown, and before that a healing circle up the coast. And at first I could not meditate, but now I can, and I can go pretty deep too. So I can see things in my meditations as well. I've seen lots of scary things.
That's your clairvoyance.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Anne-Marie. Kim, you're up next. Which Claire are you?
Mainly knowing and feeling.
Okay. I'm just going to write this down.
I've experienced a lot of things, but they're just like one-off things. Like a few years ago, I thought my third eye was opening because I started seeing like images of beings, but then that just went.
So your third eye is connected to your pineal gland, right, which is kind of between your temples and here. That's where it is. That's how far back in your head it is. And remember that your pineal gland gets calcified by fluoride in the water.
Yeah.
Don't be drinking tap water ever, 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 ever. Okay. And be careful when you buy bottled water, because not all bottled water has no fluoride in it. Sometimes they get it out of the tap. I went to the trouble when I put my new kitchen in to have a reverse osmosis water filter put in underneath my sink, which gets the fluoride out. But yeah, you can buy water that doesn't have fluoride in it, but it calcifies the pineal gland, which is your connection to source, right? That's the thing that connects you to source. So you've got to make sure that you clear that up.
Yeah.
Okay, so Kim, you're claircognizant and clairsentient, yes?
Yeah.
And what about meditating? Do you meditate? Can you meditate?
I do meditate, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Beautiful. And Nairi, you're next. You're muted, honey. Hang on. Unmute. That's better.
Thank you. So I'm not 100% sure. So just as we've been talking, I remembered that when I was 10 that I heard the newborn cries of my cousin being born.
Wow.
So I've had that, but I don't think that, and she was 500 miles away. So I heard that in my bedroom. I thought she was I thought there was a baby in the room, and I rolled over and there wasn't. So, and we got a phone call half an hour later to say that she'd been born. I have really good imagination, so I can see things really clearly in my mind's eye. But I've not channeled that, I don't think. So, but I meditate. I know things that, particularly around women being pregnant, I know that they're pregnant before they tell anyone. That's weird, but it's been a consistent thing. I do have feelings. I get feelings. I have had dead people come to me and talk to me. I can hear a clear, really, my friend's father passed away, and while she was talking to me, it was like he was sitting next to me at the table, and I could hear the sound of his voice. I'd met him once. He's South African, has a very distinct voice, so I could hear that, and he had messages.
So it certainly sounds like you've got clear hearing.
Clear hearing, okay. And
God, now I've even forgotten the word. What is it?
Audience.
Oh, clairaudience.
Clairaudience. And then I have very vivid dreams. I dream nightly. So I have lots of dreams.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to get into dreams, and we're going to get into intuition more deeply, and the difference between intuition and your clairs and all that sort of stuff. That's good. Yeah. Thanks, Nairi. Catherine, you're next. Unmute yourself, honey. Yep.
I would have to say I have clairvoyance, clairsentience, claircognizance, and clairsalience. Did you hear me?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I'm just writing it down. Good. That's great. Excellent. Well done. What about meditate?
Oh yeah, I need to practice that more.
Okay, but you can meditate?
I can, but I have a lot of my head is very loud and very busy.
So you can't stop your thoughts?
I struggle.
Yeah, okay.
But I try a few different tactics to try and
so remember when you're meditating, we'll go into it again, but remember when you're meditating that it's a muscle that you're building.
Yep.
And every time you just bring your focus back without rousing on yourself or getting frustrated with yourself, right? You just keep, every time your mind wanders, you just
keep coming
focus,
back.
focus. You're building that muscle.
Yep.
And the other thing is, if you're having trouble with lots of thoughts, you need to do the how to control your thoughts thing, which is in that Healing Your Negative Emotions course. My book is there, Get Back Your Mojo. There's a whole chapter in there on how to control your thoughts. And so that's obviously going to be necessary for you too, Catherine. Yep. Cool. Shana, you're next. What? Unmute.
Yeah, that's better. Hello, Dal. I started with feeling and knowing.
Yep.
And also natural, like healing, so energy.
So channeling, energy.
Yeah, natural channeling, and also not much, but also clairvoyant medium.
So you can talk to dead people.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
I don't see them. I just feel what they're saying. Yeah.
Yep.
But I do get clear snaps of vision. So I have, yeah.
Good. Beautiful. What about meditating?
Yeah, I meditate every day and no problem.
Beautiful. Okay. Lisa, you're up next.
Hey, everyone. Okay, I just know things. I just know it. It's
Clear cognizance.
That's it. If I do a reading for someone, if I actually get in the zone, I can see everything about their past. I can tell them everything where they freak out, but I can never see their future.
Right. So you're also clairvoyant?
Yep. And I also get people speak to me, not dead people though. They tell me that I have to do something.
Okay. So do you know who it is that's talking to you, or have you asked them?
No, it's 3 of them. And if I don't follow their direction, they start screaming. Like where you can't even do anything else. They're screaming at me to do it.
Okay. So they could be your guides or other entities around you. We're going to get on to that, how to tell the difference between good ones and bad ones, because we've got to be really careful about that.
Oh, they're really good.
So they're telling you to do,
and it tells me to go and tell a girl that she can't leave uni, and I have to tell her, and it won't leave me alone until I tell her.
Okay.
And I don't even know her from a bar of soap. And she goes, "How do you know I was leaving tomorrow?" I said, "You're going to be the best in your field. You can't."
Wow, cool.
So that does that a lot.
Yeah,
really bad.
So that's channeling, right?
Okay, channeling.
You're channeling.
I'm good at that. And meditation, once I actually sit down and do it, right into it within 2 minutes.
Okay.
But
so
sitting down and doing it is the impossible part.
We all find that. So you're good at going into trance, Lisa, by the sound of things. Which is why you've been able to channel. You know, you get in when I'm like that too, because I've done so much over the years. That's how I can channel so quickly and bring it through so quickly, because I've practiced trance so many times that it just, I go there, you know, quickly, in a matter of minutes. Terrific. Okay, Biara, you're up next. What are your clairs?
I think clairsentient.
Clairsentient, so you're a feeler?
Yeah. Been getting a lot of vivid dreams over the last couple of years.
Are they precognitive? Do they predict the future?
Yeah, I predicted a few. I've seen a few pregnancies that happened before they even announced it. And I've had past loved ones come to me in my dreams and speak to me. I've seen light language when I've woken up in the morning.
Seen light language. So explain to us how you see light language.
So I've woken up and I could see all these symbols on the ceiling in my peripheral.
Right. Wow. And you didn't understand consciously what the symbols were, but it made you feel something.
But I didn't. There was so many. Like there was hundreds, and there was just.
Yeah. So that would mean to me that you're also clairvoyant, because you're clear seeing. You're seeing things.
Yeah, and it
must have that ability as well.
Yeah.
And light language is a channeling thing. So people that can do light language, I can't, but the people that can do that, they're actually channeling.
Yeah, and I've seen entities come to me in my dream.
Yep.
Trying to absorb or frighten me.
Yeah, it's easier for them to get to you in your dreams. That's why loved ones often visit in our dreams. Every loved one that's crossed over that's visited me, it's always been in a dream. It's just easier for them to get through into third dimensional reality.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
What about meditation?
Meditation's kind of hard because I tend to fall asleep. But usually when I do meditate at night, I end up getting into like the astral
Traveling.
Yeah, not to the extent where I know what I'm doing, but I could feel my light body separating, and then fear kicks in, so I get drawn back.
Yep.
But
that's another really cool thing, astral traveling. I delved into that at one point too. So when you meditate, do you sit up or lay down?
I lay down.
Okay, don't do that. I fall asleep if I lay down too, because I fall asleep easily, or I used to before I went into menopause. But you put me in a group of people, like if I was in a workshop with lots and lots of people and they were doing a meditation, I'd sleep through the whole thing, even sitting up, because the energy of everybody going into trance, because I'm so clairsentient, I was feeling everybody's energy and I'm not off. So don't meditate laying down. You need to be sitting up with your spine straight, and your palms up. And
I do notice when I do try that I do get a lot of sensations around the face. Tingly sensations.
Okay, so that's channeling. That's what happens to me. I can feel energy all around the top of my head. Right? So meditation is going to be really important for you, Viara. Okay? All right, Jenny.
Hi, everyone. I feel like I'm a bit behind everybody. But I guess the main thing for me, actually, just when everyone's talking, is I'm quite fearful still of a lot of this stuff. So I grew up very religious. My mum's actually a church minister. I'm not, but I really struggle with that there's bad spirits out there. Deceased people talking to you. Like, it doesn't bother me for other people, but I'm like, no, I don't want any side of that. So I think I've protected myself a lot over the years by not delving deep, because I'm like, no, I don't even watch a scary movie. I just can't. I don't
watch scary movies either, because I'm too clairsentient. I can't bear it.
Yeah, I can't do anything like that. Even sad movies. Now I'm just like, no, I can't watch a sad movie. Anyway, the only thing I can think of for me, I guess I know things, but I'm a big journaler. So when I meditate, I can't stop but pick up a book. I could write 20 pages. Like, I just can't stop writing.
So that's automatic writing you're talking about.
Right.
And that is channeling.
Okay. But that's the only
But you're probably channeling your higher self. It doesn't necessarily have to mean that you're channeling a different entity. I'm not trying to scare you here.
Yeah.
Because I totally understand being frightened. When I first started connecting with the goddess Mard, or whoever was coming into the right side of my body, I didn't know who it was then. I was really terrified. I was quite scared, which causes resistance, which means they can't get through, right? Because, you've got free will. So if you're automatic writing, we're going to have a go at automatic writing. I'm going to be doing some of that. That means that you're channeling.
Okay. But that's, but that's the only really thing I can think of for me. But as I say, when I go to meditate, I'm just like, oh my gosh, I need to get a book out. I can't.
So you have trouble meditating?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think the writing becomes my little crux, I guess. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to keep going. Probably everyone's frightened. Just because you're the only one that's mentioned it here doesn't mean that everybody else isn't a bit scared. Put your hand up if you get scared sometimes. Yeah. So that's a really normal reaction. And that's why it took me so long to be able to settle into my gifts, was because I am very rational, analytical, grounded, don't like bullshit sort of person, and spade's a spade. And but I understand the religious background. So remember, you have been programmed, as we all have, everyone's been programmed, but you've been programmed with those beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
And what I want to offer you today is, remember, beliefs aren't facts. They're opinions, ideas, whatever that we've picked up along the way. So if some of them may be helpful, I'm all for, believing in Jesus and Mother Mary and, you know, lots of that stuff, that Jesus was very spiritual from what I can tell. But some of them, if they're not helpful, you might need to get rid of them, change them. We can change our beliefs. So there's more about changing beliefs in my book, Get Back Your Mojo, if you want to have a look at that.
Okay.
All right, Michelle.
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Like, I don't know. I think there's a lot to learn. I have a lot to learn about what my gifts and things are. I think I like how some of the ladies here are so like, this is what I know, this is this, I know this, I know that. I'm more like, for example, I was sat at a coffee shop once and there's a guy that sat on the other table and I just felt drawn to give him a quick card. I thought, this guy needs to hear something, and I just felt something. So yeah, I suppose there's that. I just feel
cognizant. You think it's a clear knowing sort of thing for you?
I don't know if it's a knowing or a feeling or an intuition or I just kind of feel like someone can not speak to me and I can know how they're feeling, like by looking into their eyes or something.
Yeah.
Like it's hard, yeah. I can empathize really well with people as well.
So you're an empath.
Maybe, yeah.
See, all of these things cross over. Do you know what I mean? Like because we're very, you know, we're in third dimensional reality and we're all very conscious. We want to put a name on everything. We want to understand everything down to the nth degree. That's our ego wanting to do that, by the way. We're going to go into that more. But so it's perfectly human to want to put names on, to understand where the information's coming from. I've been right down that path myself, so I understand completely. But all of these things cross over. What is the difference between clairsentience and empathy? You know, like that, there's a blurred line between the two of those, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not sure. That's why I'm here. That's why I took the course, to learn a bit more and hopefully discover more. But and I can meditate. I, like the other lady said, I forgot her name, but I can easily fall asleep. Though I do it every night. I'll listen to something, an 8-hour loop of something. Yeah. You know, like affirmations, especially, and things like that. But I know that's not meditating as such. But yes, like I did yoga the other week and I sat there and I can do a group thing happily and sit there and I get lots of ideas then. That's what happens to me.
The inspiration coming from your higher self.
Yeah. So yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Right.
Heidi. Heidi's over in Paris or France somewhere and it's like the middle of the night. That's why she's all rugged up in a blanket.
Yeah. All warm now.
So what are your clairs, Heidi?
Like Michelle, I'm not too sure exactly. That's why I've got into this course to try and have a look more further. However, I feel as though I could be not feeling. Because also like Jenny, I came from a very religious background, so I'm a little bit scared and spirits and stuff. And I'm not so scared anymore now, except, however, every time it's dark, like I'm still afraid of the dark when I'm on my own, because I just feel something's there. Like, I don't know whether I can't see it or hear it, but sort of like this knowing something's there. So I'm always afraid of the dark, to be alone. Yeah. And so I don't know whether that's a old-fashioned religious side or just maybe because there is something there, I'm not sure, but that's
sometimes hard to know whether we've been programmed from that or it's something from childhood. Children are scared of the dark, right? It's a bit hard to tell whether you brought it on or there is actually something there and you are feeling something. So I guess developing your clairsentient skills, and we're going to do a little bit of that today, developing your clairsentient skills will help you to understand whether there's actually something there or not, and you know the difference between that. So that, and what about meditation, Heidi?
I've done it, I've tried it, and it's I'm okay with it. I need a lot more practice, and it's also hard to do it, like to find time for it. But I still probably could do a lot more work with it. Yeah,
so it's really important to be doing what we're doing now, to be able to, and to regularly practice meditation, and I can't stress that more highly. As you get better and better at what you're doing, you probably don't have to do it as much if you're not drawn to it. There are many ways that you can meditate. You can go for a walk in nature by yourself quietly and meditate. I used to meditate swimming up and down the pool when I was doing laps every day, right? You can, there's karma yoga, you can meditate while you're washing up, you know, it's a form of contemplation or whatever. So that certainly that certainly happens. You can meditate with your eyes open or meditate with your eyes closed. You could be meditating staring out the window. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
So it doesn't have to be, you know, a guided meditation or something that goes on for a long time. Because you are all here because you're interested in, you know, awakening your intuition and developing your psychic skills and channeling and all that jazz, then I would suggest that, you know, you need to be doing it as often as you can, even if you can only do it for 10 or 15 minutes. And remember I said last week, Kelly Howe has an app that you can download onto your phone where she's got 5 and 10 minute meditations. So if you're having trouble meditating, start there. Start with short periods of time and lengthen it. But you know what happens when you meditate is you control your mind, you get out of your ego, you get into your authentic self, and you raise your vibration so that all of that information that you're trying to tune into can come through more clearly. And it doesn't matter whether it's channeling or your clear senses or your higher self or your guides or whatever that is. Okay, you have to be in a clear state to be able to pick up on that. Remember, the voice of spirit was always the still, quiet voice within. And we're going to talk today about the difference between your authentic self and your wise mind, you know, ego. We're going to talk about all that today because it's really important that you understand that, so you can tell the difference.
Totally.
But meditation is important.
Right. Okay.
So we're going to do our little, I'm going to share the screen. We're going to do a little short meditation connection ritual. What we're doing is practicing our grounding. Lisa, are you around? I notice you're not there. Lisa, hello.
I'm back.
Oh. She's had to go off. Good. Okay, sharing the screen here.
Loop.
Yes. Oh, yes. That's old ladies definitely have to do that lots. Don't worry. I know all about it. Okay. I'm going to, I hope this works. I've never done this before. So here you go. Here's me. I tried to put some music on to put behind my voice. So I hope it works. If it's not working, somebody please tell me. So I guess mute yourselves while I do this would be the best thing to do. And we're just going to do a short meditation. And the purpose of this is we're going to do that pillar of light meditation that we did before, because that's a connection ritual that I want you to get in the habit of doing. So pillar of light connects you to your higher guidance and also grounds you into Mother Earth. Remember, we said grounding was really important. If you want to bring through information, you need to be grounded, not out of your body, but actually in your physical body, in third dimensional energy, to bring information through from other dimensions into this dimension, into your consciousness, right? You need to be grounded. So we're going to do that. So let's turn the music on. Oops. Okay. So just sit back in your chair with your spine straight and your feet flat on the ground. Close your eyes. And palms up on your thighs. Just rest them in your lap facing up like that. This is the easiest way to do it. Take a couple of big, deep, cleansing breaths. Can everybody hear me okay over the crystal bowls? Can you hear me? Not if you can hear me. Good. So remember, we're breathing in the light all around us, breathing in the beautiful, divine, sparkly, iridescent, beautiful white light of spirit all around us. We're bathed in it. Breathe it into your body with every breath in and feel the light entering your body and finding every little point of darkness inside you. And that darkness might be cares and woes from your day, anxiety, fear, tension, stress. And just imagine that you can breathe that darkness out with every breath. So you're breathing in the light and you're breathing out darkness. Breathing in the light, letting it find all of those places inside the physical body where you're hanging on to tension. Allow that part of you to relax and breathe out the darkness and the stress and the tension. So while you're doing that breathing exercise, you're actually scanning the body from the top of the head down to the tips of your toes. Finding every little part of you that's tense. Usually women hold their tension in their shoulders, so make sure that your shoulders are relaxed and your mouth and jaw are softened. And just relax. Now, when we're talking about going into trance, we want to go deeper every time. So we're going to set that intention that every time you meditate, every time you seem to go into trance, you go deeper and deeper and deeper. More and more relaxed with every breath. Just letting go. And it feels so good to let go. And the more you let go, the better it feels. And the better it feels, the more you let go and relax. In stillness and in quiet, peace, serenity, and tranquility envelop you. That's right, very good. Now take your awareness to the crown chakra at the top of your head. It's white. Imagine it like a beautiful lotus flower opening. Just concentrate on that crown chakra opening. This is the place through which divine guidance enters. The crown chakra is open. I want you to, as you breathe in, pull the light down from above, from spirit. Pull the light down with every breath in. The light comes in through your crown chakra. It goes down through your body and push the light out of your base chakra at the bottom of your spine, down, 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 down into the Mother Earth, grounding, 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 grounding your energy. And then with a breath in, pull the energy up from Mother Gaia as a gift of energy from the earth. Pull it up through your base chakra, all the way through the body. Shoot it out through your crown chakra as high as it will go. It goes through the soul star chakra, which is above your crown chakra, about a foot above your crown chakra. And then it explodes up into the matrix, connecting to God, Goddess, all that is, source, essence, your higher self, your higher guides, your soul, all of the teachers and angels, mentors in spirit, discarnate beings who come to us in light and in love, in unconditional love, to be of service today. And then as you breathe in, bring the light of all of that down through your crown chakra, through your body, out of the base of your spine, in a spiral now, spiraling like a corkscrew down into the planet, grounding, 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 grounding your energy down into the planet. Beautiful. And feel that grounded feeling, connected to Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, the divine feminine, the goddess Gaia, connecting to the ley lines of the planet and the crystalline grid of the planet. And then with a breath in, a big breath in, breathe the energy of Mother Earth up through the base, all the way through the body, shooting it out of the crown chakra and as high as you can go, that beautiful light, up, 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 as high as you can go, connecting to God, Goddess, all that is. your higher self, your soul, your guides, your angels. And then breathing in and bringing that light down through your body, out of your base chakra, this time zigzagging. The zigzag that light down into the core of the planet. Zigzag that light. Grounding, 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 grounding. Feel yourself grounding, connecting to the earth. And breathe in the light up through your base, up through your crown chakra, way, way, way up high into the universe, into all that is, the matrix, the all of the all, the I am, divine I am, the void, connecting, connecting, connecting. And this time you're going to breathe that light down and you're going to focus on your Ajna chakra between your eyebrows. That's clear seeing. Breathe out through your Ajna chakra, clearing, activating, cleansing, healing your third eye. Breathe in through the third eye. Now breathe out through your throat chakra, clear speaking. Breathe out through your throat chakra, clearing, energizing, activating, healing for clear speaking. Breathe in through your throat chakra. Now breathe out through your heart chakra. Compassion, kindness, love. I want you to bring to mind someone that you love dearly. Someone you love in a very uncomplicated way. Someone you know loves you and you love them. And I want you to bring their face, their being into your mind's eye. Think about that person. Think about how much you love them. Feel that feeling of love in your heart. Because it's your heart that also connects you to your higher guidance. Feel the feeling of loving that person, the giving of that love. How much you love them. Love transcends all of your fears, all of your anxiety. Just feel that feeling of love and let that feeling of love spread throughout every cell of your body. Feel it everywhere through your physical body. And then let it spread out into your energy field, project it out around your body. A few feet, just feel that energy field of love. It's so good to be in that field of love. And we thank God, Goddess, all that is. We thank the Goddess for being with us today. We set our clear intention to awaken our intuition, to awaken our psychic awareness and open us to channel for the divine good and the highest good of ourselves and everyone we come in contact with. We thank you, thank you, thank you. Put your hands together in front of your chest, prayer pose, giving thanks to Spirit. Whenever you say thank you, you can get more of what that is delivered to you. Be in gratitude and thankfulness for all of the gifts that you all already have. So many gifts already present there in your being. Gifts that can be awakened and developed and brought into your life for the good of yourself and others. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And when you're ready, come gently back. Okay, feeling good?
Like going to sleep.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. The hypnagogic state is the state between sleeping and waking, right? So when you're meditating, you should be in alpha brainwave state or theta brainwave state, the deeper state of the unconscious mind. You didn't hear that music?
No.
Bugger. Sounded good to me. Oh, I forgot to click the button. There's another button I was supposed to click.
It was still great.
Next time I'll get it right. I worked it all out this morning. I spent about half an hour working out how to do it, and then I forgot to click the button. Okay, sorry guys, never mind. Yeah, so to be channeling, well, no, that's not true, because some channelers go into deep trance and they're unconscious channels, right? So we're talking Edgar Cayce, Jane Roberts, you know, there are some unconscious channels on the planet. They are completely asleep and off somewhere. But most channels on the planet now are conscious channels. That's because we are developing and we're able to do it and remain conscious in our bodies. Although I must say that when I'm channeling, I don't remember anything I've said, and it's not coming from my conscious mind, it's coming through me. So that's why I don't remember it. Yeah, to be meditating, you need to be in alpha brainwave state or theta, which are the two states of the unconscious mind. When you're asleep, you're in delta. So it's not really good for the kind of work that we're talking about doing as far as our psychic skills are concerned. Okay, so just be aware of that. When you feel yourself falling asleep, just briefly put yourself back in your body by maybe rubbing your thighs, right? Just rubbing your thighs. Or straightening your spine, maybe just something to put you back in yourself in your body momentarily to kind of wake yourself up a little bit. Okay, so we're going to go to the PowerPoint now, and we're going to go through some more stuff. So maybe pen and paper if you want to write down any questions that you have. Okay, so we went through this. This is all you clairs senses. Remember, it's on that introduction page, or what all those clairs are, all the definitions, but that's what we already did that. Okay, so we're going to do an empathy activity first of all, right? So you've all just been meditating, so this should be easy to do now because you're in a meditative trance-like state still, hopefully. So I want you to close your eyes for me for a moment. This is only going to take a few minutes. This is practicing our clairsentient skills, and a lot of you were clairsentient, probably that's the thing that most people were. So close your eyes and bring to mind someone you are close to, a friend, family member, or loved one. Sometimes it's good to bring to mind somebody that you might be having a conflict or disagreement with, right? Because what we're going to do is get information here. So you can do that if you like, but just imagine that person standing in front of you. So what you're doing is calling in their higher self to stand in front of you. So try and get a visual image of that person standing just about a foot in front of you. And we're calling in that person's soul, right? Or higher self. Now I want you to imagine stepping into their body, literally step forward into the body of that person that you are thinking about. You're blending your energy with them in an empathic or sentient way. You're becoming one with their energy. What do you feel and what impressions are you getting about them? I'm just going to give you a minute or two to feel what impressions you get. You might feel how they feel about themselves, what motivates them, or you might have a specific question you want to ask them. So I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes just to do that activity. Now, when you're ready and you've got an idea, an impression, a feeling, I want you to write it down. Open your eyes and write it down. When you're ready, take your time, write down what you got. So just coming back now and writing down any impressions, feelings, messages that you got from that person. And I'm going to get a few of you to share what you picked up and what the activity was like for you. Remember to use the little reaction button on your bottom taskbar with the raise your hand. There's a raise your hand button. There's raise my hand. I'll just wait till everyone comes back. Okay, what I want to see first of all is raise your hand if you are able to do it and get any information at all. Just raise your hand for me. Yeah, okay, good. Yeah, everyone was able to do it. Great. All right, who wants to share what message they got or what the experience was like for them?
I will.
Yeah, Anne-Marie,
okay.
yeah.
Do you want to know like the relationship that I channeled or?
No, well, it's up to you, darling. We don't mind.
It's a sibling that I have issues with, but we're in each other's life. But anyway, when I stepped into her, she's a very hard sort of person to get into because she's just a brick wall. But I just found out that everything she does, like she's operating out of fear. And she's terrified of admitting to issues from childhood and dealing with them because, yeah, she doesn't admit to them because she'd have to deal with them then. So the places she comes from is all from fear. Yeah. And we've always had an issue. She's never liked me from being a child. She's admitted it. And I asked her why. And she said, because you had everything I wanted. And I wanted what you had, kindness, empathy, yeah, the list goes on. But anyway, yeah, that's all I got from her.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Powerful, really powerful.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, terrific. Anybody else like to share what their experience was, Lisa?
I too picked an ex-friend.
Yep.
And just her fear, her scaredness, her lack of confidence, and that because I gave up supporting her, I was done, and actually her hatred towards me because I gave up on her. I walked away.
Yeah, they do that.
And I sort of asked, is there any chance that we could ever be friends, if she ever changed a bit? And no, done.
So what was that experience like of stepping into her body and feeling what she was feeling?
It was really weird. I got a complete tingling sensation all over my head.
Yep.
And I just went, oh, far out, I'm there. Like it was just, and it's still tingling now.
Yeah. So you've never had that experience before? That was new for you, Lisa?
Totally. Yeah.
Beautiful. Cool.
Yeah.
Anybody else want to share? Yep.
No.
Michelle?
I would love to say that something happened for me, but I couldn't do it. I could visualize myself standing in his shoes, my brother, and I could visualize myself stepping into and being in his shoes, but I was just nothing. Like, I can think about how I feel about him, how he must feel about me, but I don't know. I think that's just my thoughts about the situation and about our relationship.
So remember, in all of this work, there's a little bit of trust that is necessary. I have to believe that I can do something before I can do it. That's part and parcel of the process of being human, right? Now, as we clarified this morning, we all have different skills and abilities and gifts. And so this may not be one of your gifts, Michelle, but if I were you, I'd probably practice it when you're on your own, right? Because this is the gift, this is the skill I use when I'm doing a psychic reading for someone, and it doesn't matter whether I've got them on the screen or they're here in front of me. I literally loop my energy out. It's like I send my energy out and I wrap them around in my energy, right? And that's how I feel them. When I first started doing psychic readings, I used to put my hands on people's hands because I'd seen someone do that, right? I think I was in a workshop or something, someone suggested it. And I used to put my hands, they'd hold their hands out and I'd put my hands on their hands and I could feel them that way, right? So a lot of these things, even psychometry, right, is the same sort of thing. You're feeling the energy of whatever is in the piece of jewelry when you're doing psychometry, so don't be too worried that you couldn't do it today, Michelle. You might have had stage fright in this kind of environment. Have a go at doing it at home.
Yeah.
But it's one of the ways that you can use if you're clairsentient to read people, right? You can literally step into their body or wrap your aura around them or whatever works for you in order to get information. Anybody else want to share? Yeah, Nairi.
So I could see my sister and my sister. When you said the person with the most conflict, I thought, oh, that's going to be shitty. Don't really want to go there, but I'll go there. So when I stepped in, as soon as I stepped in, I wanted to run away. I wanted to get out. I wanted to disconnect. I wanted to get away. I felt a swirling in my head. And then as we were coming out of it, I thought, well, maybe that wasn't me wanting to run away. Maybe that was what she's feeling.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Nausea. I felt nauseous and not feeling safe. She doesn't feel safe.
Yes. Yeah, so that could be what she's feeling.
Yeah.
It could have been a little bit of your fear. We're going to talk about ego in a minute and telling the difference between that.
And I did have the ego doesn't feel safe in this. So maybe that was me trying to get back out because I didn't feel safe.
Is she a scary person in real life?
Oh, can be, yeah.
Yeah.
She can, anger was another thing that I got on here, angry, and she can offload at the drop of a hat.
Yeah. So look, it's one of those things. When we're doing readings, how do we get feedback? The only way we get feedback, right, is when someone tells us, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
So that's why you've got to start reading for other people if you haven't already, right? Because that's the only feedback you get when you're doing this kind of thing. You literally never know whether you're right or not, right? But I've learned to trust myself only because I've read for so many people and they sit in front of me or send me emails later or messages or whatever and go, yeah, that's right, you were spot on, oh my God, and I'm going, okay, well, I must be right then, right? But it's a learning thing, it's a practice thing. So what I'm going to actually do after our session today is I'm going to get you all to join my group. So there's a group called Channeling Psychic, blah, 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 blah. It's on Facebook. And I'm going to put a post on there, a practice post, ask anybody, who wants a free question answered. and feel free to go on there and have a go at answering someone's question for them. That's the only way you develop these skills, right? Because you read for other people. Now, sometimes be aware of this, right? Sometimes people tell you you're right because they don't want to hurt your feelings.
Yeah.
So that's why I never read for friends, because I don't trust myself, right? Because my ego gets involved. I want things for people that I love. So I don't read for friends and family. I only read for strangers or clients that might come back again and again and get in, and I read for them, because I don't want people telling me that I was right because they're taking care of my feelings. Women are like that, right? We're very agreeable. We don't like hurting people's feelings. So you've got to do it for strangers, right? And you'll get told you're wrong, and you've got to cop that. That's part and parcel of, you've got to, you know, okay, well, I missed that one. I've actually only once ever since I've been doing psychic readings for money have I given someone back their money because they contacted me afterward and said, I don't know what you're talking about. You're completely wrong, right? And I said, no worries. And I just sent her back her money. And I thought, and I know that, so what happens is sometimes you'll say things to people and they don't want to believe it. They don't want it to be true, or you're not telling them what they want to hear. And so they reject it. And sometimes I'll say things to people at the beginning of a reading and they'll go, oh, no, that's not right. And by the time we get to the end of the reading, when we've, you know, gone through it all, they go, yeah, actually it is right. That happens all the time because you're bringing through new information and you've got to get past their conscious mind, their ego, to get the message through that they don't actually want to hear, like this relationship isn't going to work, or this guy is, you know, bullshitting you, or, you know, it's very complex. You know, we're like counselors, I told you that. Anybody else want to share before we move on? Jenny?
Yeah, I just quickly wanted to say, I picked a friend that's going through a lot, a really close friend, but everything was what I already knew. So I'm a bit unsure whether I should have, I don't know, like, because you said pick someone you know really well or love or whatever. So that's why I picked her, but it was kind of like, I think I
well, for this exercise, I did want you to just pick someone that you knew, right? Because I just wanted you to have that experience of actually stepping into their energy. So that's okay. But that's why I don't read for people that I love, because I already know so much about them, right? It's hard to tell the difference between my ego and my authentic self in that moment.
I agree.
So we're gonna get to that. Okay, let's move on. Okay. Whoops. Let me get my buttons right. Why isn't it working? Oh, okay. Okay, so this is what we're going to look at now. We're going to look at the difference between your ego mind and your wise mind. So this is really important stuff, okay? You have to know that your ego mind is only 10% of your mind. Your unconscious mind, this is from science, this is what science says, your unconscious mind is 90%, and your unconscious mind is where all the information is going to come from to do the work that you do. It's the seat of your imagination, it's where your feelings are stored, all of that sort of stuff, but it's also where your memories are stored, right? Your ego mind is your your ego mind is your conscious mind, rational, analytical, synthesizing, analyzing information, making lists. Really, really important to live in third dimensional reality. We had to have an ego, right? But you have to be able to tell the difference between your ego and your wise mind. So the ego is always fearful. It projects itself into the past or the future, not the present. So the ego is there to kind of protect you. So it learns from experience. Your unconscious mind is a part of you that learns from experience, and then your ego goes, okay, we've had this experience before, it wasn't good, and we're going to make you fearful in this moment. So fear always comes from your ego. It doesn't come from your wise mind. Your wise mind, it knows that you're eternal and you're immortal and nothing can actually harm your spirit, right? It's only your physical body that can be harmed. So your ego is kind of there to help look after your physical body, to a large degree, right? But the ego is always projecting itself into the future, often imagining the worst possible case scenario. That's what anxiety is. Or projecting yourself into the past to horrible bad memories, which is not usually projecting you into the past to good memories, they're usually bad memories, and making you feel pain in the present moment. So that's why Eckhart Tolle and a lot of other spiritual teachers have all said the power of now, in the now moment. I am safe, I am happy, I am warm, I am comforted, I have support, I'm completely okay in this now moment. It's only when we project ourselves into the past or the future that we manage to cause ourselves pain. Like sometimes in the present moment, shit happens, right? You know, you have a car accident, the dog bites you, whatever. So your ego is there to help you take care of what's in the present moment, right? But when it's not actively doing something in the present moment, it's usually in the past and the future. And so, you know, good practice is to keep bringing yourself back to the now moment and making yourself present in the now moment if you're someone who has lots of negative emotion in particular. So your ego has intensive mind chatter, in other words, monkey mind. That's where those thoughts keep coming up, right? They're coming up on your ego mind. Your ego is ungrounded, it's reactive and explosive, right? So when you get negative energy and you get angry or anxious, that's, you're in your ego. You're not in your wise mind when you're feeling negative emotion. Ego, scattered energy, mostly stuck in the mental and emotional bodies, right? So that's not where you want to be when you're doing readings or when you want to be at peace. It's unconscious to what it does. It's usually disrespectful of yourself and others. So criticism of yourself and others comes from your ego. It's often negative because its job is to protect you. So it's preempting negativity. It's energy contracted, restrictive and fearful. That's your ego. Guidance is always a projection of judgment, blame, and criticism of self and others in your ego, right? So that's your ego mind. Now, let's think of the other part of your mind, your wise mind. You might also call this your authentic self, right? Present in the now moment, grounded and calm. Silences the mind and tunes into the heart. Fully feeling the core sensations in the body. So your wise mind can feel all the sensations in your body. You get intuitive nudges from this part of you, ideas or visual images. Your wise mind is the part of you that observes. So if you think for a minute, if you sit and just wait till the thoughts arise in the mind, and then you notice that you can actually observe the thoughts arising in the mind, then you're not your thoughts, right? Because you can actually observe those thoughts and feelings. That observer part of you is your wise, authentic self. Your wise, authentic self can discern what feels light and what feels heavy. Wise mind addresses situations from a grounded, heartfelt, honest place, is conscious and respectful, expansive, limitless in potential, limitless in creativity, limitless in ideas, knowledge, and wisdom. Guidance is always loving. It solves problems, suggestive and supportive. So whenever you remember we were talking about channeling, well, how do you know whether you're channeling a good entity or a bad one? You know, by the information that comes through. If the information that comes through is trying to make you fearful, that's a bad entity. If the information that's coming through is loving and wise and solves problems for you in a positive, powerful way, then that's a good entity. Guidance is usually clear, short, and precise, except when you're channeling. Some channeled entities can be extremely verbose. They do a lot of talking and spend a lot of words saying something that we could say in a few sentences. If anyone's studied sociology, it's a bit like that. Your wise mind is not full of what ifs. There is a sense of knowingness, right? So your ego is all about, well, what if this happened? Or what if that happened? Or, oh, and I don't want to take risks and I don't want to make mistakes. But your wise mind isn't like that at all. So here's an ego activity that you all need to start doing, okay? I'm just going to minimize this so I can read it for you. So we are all complex human beings and we have many parts. These ego parts came into being over the course of your life to help and protect you, right? So that's what the ego does. It's there to protect you. It's not where higher guidance comes from. We have parts in us, aspects of us or parts of us that have been formed over time from our life experiences, and they might be the victim part of us, the judgmental part, the frightened part, the worrier, angry, depressed, anxious, spiteful, mean, the people pleaser part, the attention seeking part, the controlling part, approval seeking, rescuing part. They're aspects of us, they're ego aspects of us. They came into being as a coping strategy to help us with a situation that we were going through in life, usually starting in childhood somewhere, but could happen at any time of your life. And then the coping strategy, you just keep playing out of that coping strategy if you are unconscious or not aware of it, okay? Because these parts are not the real you, your wise mind, the CEO. They're not that part of you. They are just aspects of yourself that surface or are triggered from time to time in response to certain events or circumstances. And you've got to learn to separate these parts from your authentic self and manage these parts of you. So if anyone has had trauma, childhood trauma, you'll know that you can get triggered. So something happens in your now moment and it reminds you unconsciously of something that happened to you in your childhood, and you get triggered, even though you might not consciously remembered what that childhood memory is. You can get triggered by what's happening in the now moment and respond to it as if you were a child, respond to it as if you were actually in the past, right? And then you react. So you withdraw, or you get angry, or you criticize or shoot spiteful words at somebody, or get frightened, right? Because you're reacting, you're not responding in an adult way, in your adult self, to what's happening in the now moment, right? So being in control of your mind and emotions means understanding what triggers you and understanding where you've come from and what's shaped you and what your coping strategies are. And you're smart, you know, think about the fact, oh, well, when this happens to me, I usually get angry. When that happens to me, I usually withdraw. When this happens, I get sad and play the victim. You've got to put those parts of the puzzle together for yourself. So here's the way to deal with your ego. So that's what you've got to do. You've got to actually know when you're in your ego. You've got to learn for yourself the difference between your ego and your authentic self. You've got to know when you're in your ego and deal with it as part of your process of becoming the better version of you, let's put it that way, and fulfilling your potential. So we notice the part of you that is being triggered. So say I suddenly go into negative emotion and I feel shame. That's a biggie for people that have suffered childhood trauma. I suddenly feel ashamed and I start defending and justifying myself and feeling like I'm a bad person. So just notice it and give it a name. So you notice that you're in that emotion and you go, okay, yep, there's shame. Shame has been triggered right now. I'm feeling shame. So you need to accept this part of yourself and thank it for being there, okay? So you can't get rid of something you resist, right? What you resist persists in your reality. The only way to deal with anything is to accept it. So, okay, I accept that I had childhood trauma and I occasionally get triggered into feeling this bad feeling about myself, like I'm a really awful person. Remember, shame says not that I've done something bad, but that I am something bad, right? Something deeply broken and distorted and bad about me deep inside. So I know that it's not about the now moment, it's about my child self, because that's what I was made to feel as a child. So I accept it. And to stop yourself from reacting from this part in your automatic habitual way, take a few big, deep breaths. So you stop and you breathe. And then you talk to that part of you that is triggered and say whatever you need to say to soothe it, and see if it will relax and let you handle the situation. So I might say to myself, okay, little Rhea, it's all right. You're not a bad person. You're actually a really good person. You're lovely. Just because you feel something doesn't make it true. You're going to be okay. You're safe. We all love you. Everybody loves you. You're lovable. You're good. So you talk to yourself. You talk sense to yourself. You talk to that child part of yourself or that younger part of yourself. Think about how you would normally have reacted to this situation. So normally I would react to shame. What I usually do when I'm feeling shame is I withdraw and I shut down, I self-abandon, and I become completely inert. In other words, I can't do anything. I can't do normal coping strategies. I couldn't wash the dishes, for instance. And I start to feel very much the victim. I get sad and I cry and I start saying things to myself like, it's not fair. It's not fair. I roll around in the pity pit at the bottom of the pond. If any of you are familiar with the feeling of pity. So that's how I would normally react to that situation. And so then I let my wise mind come in, which is my right brain, right? Think of your ego. This isn't the way it is, but just for clarity's sake and to help you deal with this, think of your ego as your left brain, conscious, rational mind, right? Male part of your brain. Right brain. So remember, just to clarify, left brain, male part of your brain, right side of your body, male body, because it crosses over, right? Right brain, creative, your connection to source, imagination, wise mind. Feminine side of your brain, feminine side of your body is the left side of your body. So in the past, I would have rolled around in the pity pit at the bottom of the pond. In this moment, I'm going to choose not to do that. I won't let myself roll around in the pity pit at the bottom of the pond. I'm going to cast that feeling off like I was throwing off a cloak. That's what I do. Just throw it off and give myself a shake. Go, right, what's the adult way to deal with this situation? Now, it may take me some time to get there, but the more I do that, the easier it gets. So afterwards, I evaluate my performance and reward myself for making a different choice. Remember, whenever you're doing an experiment, you get feedback. So what I'm asking you to do is experiment with choosing different responses to what your ego coping strategies normally are. Okay? Choosing a different response. So here's another way of, oh, no, too far. Here's another way of looking at it. This is from Wise Mind dialectical behavior therapy perspective. So this is another, I like to give people several ways to look at it so you understand what I'm saying. You've got your emotional mind and you've got your rational mind. This is another way of looking at it, okay? So rational mind, logical, statistics, research, past experience, analytical, rational, ego, conscious mind. Over here we have emotions, stress, sadness, feeling, emotion, fear, anger, anxiety. And in the middle, they've got wise mind. So that's just another way of you looking at it for yourself. Having been a teacher for so long, I'm aware that different people learn in different ways. I just wanted to offer you another way of actually doing it. But that's the way. Okay, so I'm going to just stop sharing for a minute and just go back to you guys and just see if there are any questions about that, because it's really important. So does anyone have any questions about telling the difference between your wise, authentic mind and your ego mind? Do you get it? Nairi, yep.
Yeah, I think I get it. But what I find interesting is I think we've punished the ego having an ego, like it's a bad thing to have
Yep.
ego. And I think it's not, is what I'm getting out of this. And a little bit this morning when I was doing my own stuff, is that I've always kind of looked at my ego as being this massive big stumbling block, but I can't, but it stops you from getting to where you want to go. But it doesn't. It looks after you and it protects you, and you do have to talk to it, and you do have to nurture it and care for it to allow you to step into other spaces that when you want to extend yourself and grow.
Beautiful.
Is that right?
Yeah, great. So remember, we can't exist in third dimensional reality without our ego. We had to learn, for those of you who've got children, you know that they are in symbiotic relationship with their mother till they're about 18 months old, and then their ego kicks in and they start saying, no, and that's mine, and throwing tantrums. Yep, mothers know that. That's when the ego kicks in. It's an important part of taking care of yourself in third dimensional reality, understanding that you're separate from other people. You're not in the oneness. We came from oneness. We'll go back to the oneness, right? And we were in symbiotic oneness relationship with our mother when we were in her tummy, and for the first year or 18 months of our lives, we're in that symbiotic relationship with our mother. But then we have to understand that we are separate beings and we have a role to play here. We came here to fulfill our own personal destiny, right? And fulfill our own life plan and play a role. And in order to do that, we need the ego. It protects our physical selves, right? So it's an important part, but it's only 10%. And what happens is people let their ego run rampant, right? Pride goeth before a fall. And we all know people that are completely in their egos. That's what narcissists are. They are 100% in their egos, right? Arrogant, up themselves, selfish, self-absorbed, lacking empathy. Those people are completely in their egos, right? Solar plexus chakra, power over others, fighting, greed. It's all in their solar plexus. So we've got to understand that that part of us is important and thank it and use it the way it was meant to be used. But it doesn't know the things that our wise, authentic mind knows. It doesn't know the things that our intuition knows, the things that can't be touched, felt, seen, or heard rationally in 3D reality, right? Your ego doesn't know anything. That's why it keeps trying to talk you out of them. No, that can't be right. I can't be really reading that person. That's your ego. Do we get it? Any more questions? All good? Let's go on. Write down any questions you've got, guys, if you want to ask me later. Okay, so, yep. Okay, so now we're going to move on to the intuition, which is really important to understand your intuition. Now, remember that all of these things overlap, right? It all overlaps. So the intuitive mind, this is from Albert Einstein, guys, nice little quote here. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. Third dimensional reality thinks it's all about the ego. Power over others, greed, rape, pillage, plundering, war, violence. You know, it's all ego. Money is everything, not who you are, but what you got. That's ego. But your intuitive mind is the sacred gift, and your ego mind is supposed to be the faithful servant of your intuitive mind. So what is intuition? Here's a definition for you. Intuition is the ability to acquire knowledge without recourse to conscious reasoning. Anything conscious is your ego, right? Rational, analytical mind. Different fields use the word intuition in very different ways, including but not limited to direct access to unconscious knowledge, which is what we want, right? We want access to knowledge that our conscious mind doesn't have, or other people's conscious mind doesn't have. Unconscious cognition, that is unconscious knowing. Cognition is knowing. Inner sensing, inner insight to unconscious pattern recognition, and the ability to understand something instinctively without any need for conscious reasoning. So we all have an intuition, which is a part of our gear. It's one of the tools we were given when we came here. So this stuff about intuition I'm about to give you now was channeled by a being called Elias, who's channeled through Mary Ennis, who's in Vermont. I've spoken to Elias many times. Oh, I'm going too far. An amazing being. So this is what Elias says about intuition. Intuition is an answer, not a question. Intuition is always the question answerer. So in order to get your intuition working, there has to be a question about something. Now, you might not have made that question conscious, but maybe you're thinking, hey, who is that calling on the phone when the phone rings? And you do it automatically, right? And intuitively, you'll get a sense of who it is. That's a way to practice your intuition, by the way. Intuition is definite, right? So it's not perhaps or maybe. There's no stuffing around. It's like a definite gut. Remember, we said it wasn't just some people feel it in the gut. I don't feel it in the gut. I feel it all over my body. It's just like clear cognizance, clear knowing. Intuition is not precognitive. So that's not where precognitive stuff comes from. It doesn't come from your intuition, right? Very rare that it comes through in images, although it does for some people. So people who are clairvoyant, right? It's not your intuition that is giving you that clairvoyance, probably. It's usually a feeling or a thought. So your intuition is a feeling or a thought. It may feel right to do something. It just feels right. It feels like the right thing. It is never expressed by your inner self as fear. So intuition is never fearful. And higher beings, when you channel like that, they never put fear in you. They might say, why don't you go over there? That's the right place for you to go, rather than, oh, don't go there. Don't do that, right? So intuition works in the same way. It's not making you fearful. You might react to the answer with fear, but the communication is never fearful. So if my intuition was telling me I had to go to a pub by myself on Saturday night, my reaction to that might be fear because I might be socially anxious. So my reaction to the intuition might be fearful, but the message isn't fearful. Intuition is not a want because that is possession, and an answer is never possessive, right? So you don't get intuition that you're going to buy a new car tomorrow. That's psychic guidance, right? Or that someone's going to give you a new car. You know what I mean? So intuition is not there to tell you about your wants. Intuition is giving you information about a subject. It does not do the choosing for you. So intuition won't tell you what to do. Your greater consciousness, that is the totality of you, does the choosing. So intuition is giving you information, right? It's a communication, right? But it's not telling you what to do. The telling you what to do is what you do with the whole of your consciousness. Intuition merely offers information for you to do the choosing, to help you make a choice. It does not express preference. Just because you have listened to your intuition doesn't mean there will be no obstacles or challenges. This is really important because people often say to me, oh, I followed my intuition, but there was a mountain I had to climb or a door I had to open and it all seemed too difficult. So I decided I was wrong and it wasn't my intuition that was telling me to do that. Nope. It often takes you on a twisting path, but you are still moving in a direction, right? So you can be following your intuition and you go a little bit down this path and then you go, oh, now I've got to go this way. Oh, now I've got to go that way. Now I've got to go that way. You're still following your intuition. There may still be challenges or difficulties that you have to overcome in order to follow your intuition. So it's broader than merely impressions, is a feeling in your body more than your gut. So imagine intuition is like the GPS in your car. It will keep rerouting you along the journey. Keep listening to it and adjusting as you go. So your intuition, like my intuition led me, for instance, to learn to take a course in Japanese when I was at university. I did one semester and hated it, so I dropped it, right? And then when I finally was getting offered a job in a high school in Newcastle, which there was supposed to be a 15-year waiting list to get a job in Newcastle at that time in the early 90s, probably even longer now. I ended up getting that job because the principal at the time wanted me to get the job. And I was the only person qualified in the whole of New South Wales that had applied to Swansea High School who had Japanese in their transcript. And so that's how he managed to put me on as an English history teacher. He said he wanted English, history and Japanese. And I was the only person that had Japanese just because I took it for one semester, and it enabled me to get a full-time job the first year out of uni, right? Yeah, which is an unheard of thing. If anybody knows about teaching, that's unheard of. So intuition is like your GPS. It guides you. This is a quote from Kim Bassinger that I heard from somebody, and I just thought it just summed up what we're talking about here. She says, I feel there are two people inside me and my intuition. If I go against her, she'll screw me every time. And if I follow her, we get along quite nicely. So if you don't listen to your intuition, you're likely to have a more difficult time. It's there to help and guide you, right? In a direction that's for your highest good. So just going to go back and check in with you guys. Any questions about intuition before we move on? Does it make sense? Anne-Marie?
Like I just wanted to give a little example of what I've experienced. So about 24 years ago, I was single with a baby and a toddler, and I was out with a girlfriend, and I just didn't want to be in Newcastle at the nightclubs. So we went and got something to eat. We were sitting in the car at Macca's eating it. And I said to her, I want to go home, but I have to stop in at SJ's before we go home. I said, I don't know why. I said, I want to walk in, walk out and go home. So she says, all right then. So we walked in, I stood there, was in there for 5 minutes, and a guy come up to me, and he was very persistent and I kept just pushing him away. He says, go away. And he is my husband, my second husband of 22 years married yesterday. And that was my
anniversary for yesterday.
Thank you. That was my, and I'm pretty sure that was my intuition pushing me to do that. And I'm glad I followed that one. Another one too that keeps coming up for me, I keep having vivid dreams of living at Harrington, and going right back to basics of making butter and jams and stuff like that, just living in the old Harrington. And I have this pull to go there and to live there. Is that intuition?
Well, you see, it's unclear, isn't it? That dream could be another lifetime too. We often dream about other timelines that we're living on, so it may be that.
Yeah.
You don't really know, right?
No.
So you've got to also, with all of this information, you've got to also use your rational, analytical mind to make sense of it. I often say to everybody, I'm the biggest skeptic in the whole world, right? I don't take anything at face value. I'm not suggestible at all, right? I need to make up my own mind about things. So what we're talking about here is not totally excluding the rational conscious mind. We're talking about using the rational conscious mind to give you more information, right? And to balance the right brain with the left brain. That's when you know that you're really got it. You're in harmony. You've got both of those aspects balanced.
Yeah, that's why I won't move, because what if it's not the right decision? So we don't go. Simple as that.
Thank you.
Thank
Does
you.
anyone else have any questions? Nope. Catherine.
Recently started sort of following, what would be my intuition, and sort of doing something like
trying to follow your intuition.
And I forgot what I was going to say. Never mind.
That happens to me all the time.
Never mind.
Yeah, so when we're talking about following your intuition, right, it is a part of the tools that you came here with. You've got your own little GPS, and it is there to help you make better choices, right? And to guide you, but it is different from your psychic awareness. Your psychic awareness is greater and broader, right? Your intuition's more clearly defined. Does that make sense, Nairi?
So would intuition be coming from your higher self?
No, well, yes, it's coming from you. I like to say inner self for intuition, right? It's part of your inner self. Remember, your higher self is you. Like, here's your physical self and your soul, then your higher self. It's still you, right? It just doesn't feel that way where we are in third dimension, but that's the way it is. You're like those, you know, those Russian dolls that are nested inside each other.
Oh, I read that today in the book I was reading. Okay.
Yeah, you're like a Russian doll, and your higher self is, and then your oversoul, you know, like, yes, and then God, goddess, yeah. So it's like that, like, think of it like Russian dolls. Remember, the way that we use to describe all of these things is fairly limited. We're limited with our language and our understanding, you know, and the more we become awakened, the more we grow, we can understand higher concepts. So I'm trying to explain it to you in the way it might not really be. We might learn something totally different 10 or 15 years down the track, but the knowledge that we have on the planet now, I'm just trying to explain it to you in the best way that I can, so that you can, it makes sense to you, because things need to make sense to my conscious mind. I don't know about yours, but it really does. Okay, any other questions? Nope. Good. Okay, let's go back and see what's next. I can't even remember.
Maria?
Yeah?
I do have a question, but it's about the water. It's been playing on my mind since you said it.
It's about what?
The water. You were saying that, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Fluoride, yep.
Yeah, and I just drink straight from the tap, so.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, so what do I need to do then?
You need to get water that doesn't have fluoride in it. So you need to go and buy drinking water just for yourself. If you're wanting to expand your psychic skills and start reading for others, particularly, you know, like, it's your choice, you don't have to. But if that's what you want to do, then you need to go and get water that doesn't have fluoride in it. So go to the supermarket and buy water, but make sure you read the bottle.
Right.
Okay.
Can you, because I was interested as well, because I drink loads of water. Can you filter it out from the tap?
You can, but you can only do it by reverse osmosis. So most cheap filters don't do it. When I was living on the Gold Coast, we had health food shops up there, and I can't remember what they're called now, Flannery's, and they're all over the place. And out the front of every single one of them was a water machine with reverse osmosis water in it. And I just went and got a big bottle of it, and filled it up every week, right, and bought it. One of my girlfriends owns a water shop on the Gold Coast. She sells water and she filters it. So you can buy filtered water and have it delivered to your house. You can go and buy it cheaply at the supermarket. Or I think I paid about $350 to have my reverse osmosis thing put underneath the sink in my kitchen. So I've always got filtered water. And I use it for everything, cooking, cups of tea, everything.
We have a Berkey water filter, which has charcoal and a thing underneath that cleans the chlorine and everything else like that.
Yeah, you have to check. Some of them take the chlorine and the metals out, but they don't take the fluoride out.
This one takes.
Not everywhere in Australia has fluoride in the water. I went and lived at Yukai, which is about 20 minutes out of Murwillumbah, because my son was living there. And because it's such a small town, population 250, the water cleansing place was actually next door to the convent where I was living at the time. They don't put fluoride in the water there. And I was like, yes, maybe that's why. This is like up near Nimbin, right? Yukai is like not far from Nimbin. Maybe that's why everybody is so, you know, spiritual up there. Yeah, no fluoride in the water.
Yeah, I've noticed recently, I've just said to my husband that I just cannot drink the tap water anymore. I've been buying water. I can't stand the smell of it. I can't stand the taste of it.
Yeah.
And it's shocking. So, well, that's good. I better just check fluoride, but thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so what we need to understand is what causes distortion in the message. Right? Now, remember, we're trying to understand where we're getting this information from. So we've done some explaining of that by explaining your clair skills. Remember, those clair skills that you have in this lifetime are probably there because you had them in other lifetimes. You've used them before. That's why we're all different, because we've picked them up along the way. For instance, I was told by a channeler that I was talking to that the way I move energy through my body is very different than the way everybody else moves energy through their body, because I was taught to do it in the mystery schools and the temples in Egypt a long time ago when I was there with Goddess Mart, that I don't bring the energy down through the top of my head and it goes from down through my body from one chakra to the other, that I actually bring the energy from my crown chakra down to my heart chakra and it loops back up. And it loops around like that in a very unusual way, I was told, because I'd learnt to do that years and years ago. So you've all got some little trick like that you've learnt in another lifetime, and that's how you're bringing your skills in. And no one can actually tell you where well, you can if you speak to channeled entities. They can give you more information about that. When I'm channeling, I can usually bring through information about things for people most of the time. But yeah, you just have to learn about your own way of doing it. But I wanted you to be able to differentiate between the ego and the intuition, your psychic senses, and this is what distorts the information that comes through. Doesn't matter how it's coming through or where it's coming through, whether it's coming through from your psychic senses, your channeling, or your intuition, this will distort it, right? So mental illness distorts the information, because lots of people that have mental illnesses like bipolar, schizophrenia, personality disorders, they have a very distorted sense of reality. They're often not grounded. They're often very connected to source, but not grounded, and all sorts of things go on. So mental illness, like real mental illness. I'm not talking about depression and anxiety in that point, right? I'm talking about real diagnosed mental illness. Trauma, so childhood trauma can cause distortions, because childhood trauma triggers you to be in your triggered ego self, child self, or in a different aspect of you that was, as coping strategies we were talking about before. So that can cause distortions. Addictions, so drug addicts, alcoholics, they can have a very distorted sense of reality. They can also have entity attachments, because negative entities like to attach themselves to people who are drug addicts and alcoholics, because there's a vulnerability or weakness there. Distortion in beliefs can disrupt the message. So that maybe will make sense to you if you think, those people who were brought up in very Christian or religious circumstances who have a number of beliefs. For instance, here you go. I had a girlfriend years ago, and she was a 7-day Adventist, and she'd left the church for a while when I met her, and then she went back into the church. And I invited her one day to a psychic party that I had at my place, and I was having a friend over who was a psychic, and she was going to do readings for us all. And this friend of mine jumped away from me and said, "That's the devil's work, and I'm not coming to your house." So she had a belief from her church that any psychic information was the devil's work, and so obviously that's going to cause a distortion, isn't it, in any information that she could possibly get. Lack of humility causes distortion. There's a lot of people in this business who do readings for others that are narcissistic and full of themselves, right? I am amazing, I'm wonderful, I can do this, blah, blah, blah. I always think that my higher self wants me to be humble, for me to know that this information that I get for people is not from me. It's not from little old Ria, right? It's coming from somewhere else. And I'm just the conduit. It's like I'm on the phone to spirit and I'm just repeating it to somebody, right? So I have to be humble about that. I feel very grateful that I have these gifts that I can help people with, right? So I think humility is important in this. Because if you're not humble, you're in your ego, right? That's what the ego says. The ego says, "Oh, I'm amazing." Remember, the ego always thinks it's better than everybody else or not as good as everybody else. So it's the ego that says, "Oh, I'm amazing. I can do this, this, and this. I'm getting messages from spirit. God's talking to me. You know, that's ego. So we don't want to be that. We want to be humble. A lack of empathy can distort the message, right? You've got to be empathic about other people, be able to walk in other people's shoes, right? And so when you're doing readings, you're not going to say anything to someone that's going to distress them, to make them feel bad about themselves, to scare them, right? Your job in being there for other people and doing readings for others is to uplift them, not to bring them down. So you have to have empathy for other people and what they're going through in life, even if you don't understand it and it's not something that you've ever been through in your life, right? You have to be able to put yourself in somebody else's shoes and be compassionate and kind. A lack of self-awareness distorts the message, because if you don't know what your own shit is, how are you going to know whether it's getting in the way? You've really got to know yourself and know what your baggage is, to know that whether you're the, you know, you're bringing through the message properly. Same thing, haven't acknowledged your shadow self. We all have an inner monster. We're all, human beings are capable of all things. And I ask you, if you think you're not, imagine if somebody came to your house and was trying to, you know, kill one of your children, what would you do? Well, I'd kill them. I don't know about you, but I would if I had the chance, right? If they were trying to kill me, maybe different. Maybe I'd go, okay, well, maybe, you know, I don't need to be here. And I know there's no such thing as death. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure my ego conscious mind would make me fight, because that's that survival part of us. We fight instinctively and we go into flight, fight mode. So incorporating your shadow self, all of us haven't. Jordan Peterson says that, you know, everyone has an inner monster, and the most powerful people are the people that have integrated their inner monster, that they know that they're capable of dark deeds, but they choose not to do them with their wise mind. So those people are more powerful, right? They've tamed their inner monster and they're in control of their inner monster. People who don't acknowledge their shadow self or their inner monster often are in denial that it's there and justify their behavior and defend themselves, right? And so we don't want to be like that either. So haven't dealt with your shit, that's a thing that distorts the message. Emotional dysregulation, being triggered. Whoop. Signs of emotional dysregulation. If you don't know whether you get emotionally dysregulated or not, this is how you work it out. Now, everybody gets emotionally dysregulated. Sometimes we just have different ways of dealing with it, so it might not look like emotional dysregulation. So I just wanted to run this by you. When you get emotionally dysregulated, you go into flight, fight, freeze, or fawn mode, right? There's 4 of them. Flight is when you want to run away, suddenly making plans to move or go on holiday. Obsessive compulsive behaviors, hyperactivity, or suddenly breaking up with someone. If you've ever been in an argument with somebody and you were getting on fine yesterday and today you have a fight with them about something and they say, that's it, it's all over, I'm leaving, that's them going into flight mode. It's also incredibly childish, but that's another thing. Fight mode, getting wound up about an issue, personal problem, and wanting to cause a fight with someone. Road rage, getting irritable, frustrated, or impatient. Remember, irritability, frustration, and impatience are lower levels of anger. Okay, it's still anger. Freeze mode, feeling like you can't do anything. Lack of energy or motivation. Netflix binging, it's one of my favorite ones. Emotionally disappearing, feeling numb, going into a world of your own, a fantasy world, self-abandoning, you know, going to bed, not being able to get out of bed, just pulling the covers over your head. That's freeze mode. And fawn mode, this is me, people pleasing, being overly helpful, house cleaning. House cleaning can also be flight mode as well, or trying to fix things. So next time you feel negative emotion of any sort, just stop for a moment and observe yourself and see which of those ones you are doing. And you'll notice that there's a pattern. Sometimes we have more than one, right? But that's what happens when you're emotionally dysregulated. And of course, when you're emotionally dysregulated, that's not the time you want to be reading for someone or yourself. You don't want to be doing readings when you're emotionally dysregulated. You can't, because you've got all this going on. Your ego's gone mad. So you need to make sure you know when you've been emotionally dysregulated. You know, it might turn up as fawn and it's not quite so obvious, right? That over wanting to help people, or it might turn up as freeze, going numb. So you can't be doing readings for people when you're in those modes. Now, helpfully, it's not very often that I've ever had to cancel an appointment with somebody. I try not to do that as much as possible. But sometimes I have been so triggered, I couldn't do a reading for someone. I did have to ring, you know, let them know that I, you know, make an excuse, that I couldn't do it. I was sick or whatever until I got better. So just be aware of that. It's really important, remember, that you look after your vibration and then you take care of yourself. So here's a few more things about emotional dysregulation: feeling spaced out, blank, foggy, lost for words, can't remember where you are, feeling scattered, trying to do a lot of things at once and finishing nothing, tripping over things, dropping things, losing things, or just can't seem to physically function in your normal way. Voice or facial expression flat, you're in a rage, or you feel huge urgency to express what is bothering you. You can't feel parts of your body, hands, mouth, feet. They're all signs of emotional dysregulation. Emergency measures to regulate yourself. So if you do the Healing Your Negative Emotions course, you're going to get all of this and you'll understand it, right? So first of all, you've got to notice when you're dysregulated, you're flooding with emotion, adrenaline, panic. And the thing you need to do is say to yourself, I'm being triggered. I'm being triggered. I've been triggered. Just acknowledge it. Remember, acknowledge everything. Be safe if you're driving or using heavy equipment. Stop, take your time. If you're in a potentially violent situation, you know, you need to take care of yourself. Remove yourself. You can calm a verbal argument by using gentle words to stop the interaction for now, like, I want to continue this conversation, but I need to take a breath and calm down. Oh, God. You can't be angry and have your palms up like that. So when you get angry, just sit breathing with your palms faced up like this. There's lots of body postures that you can use to get out of emotional dysregulations. Washing your hands and feeling the water and soap on your hands, put you back in your body. Remember, when you're triggered, you're in your emotions and you're in the past. So you need to put yourself back in your body. Tell yourself you're safe. I'm safe. I'm safe. Everything's all right. Use your affirmations. I'm safe. I'm safe. Everything's all right. Notice when you're feeling anything in your body and breathe through that part of your body as if you were breathing the feeling out, right? So remember that breath thing that we were doing today? Breathe in light. Breathe out anger. Take 10 deep breaths. Get a good squeezing hug. That's always good if you're emotionally dysregulating, you're feeling sad or unsafe or whatever. If no one is around, press your back into a corner and wrap your arms around yourself so you can feel the pressure of your own torso. Rocking, right? We did that as kids. Rocking is also good for making yourself feel better. You're comforting yourself, right? Calming your own emotional dysregulation. If you're at home, you could then distract yourself by doing some yoga, dancing, singing's wonderful for re-regulating, going for a walk, exercise is wonderful for re-regulating. So they're just a few things that you can do to, in an emergency, get regulated. If it's just a slight trigger and you've got a client or someone that you're supposed to meet up with soon, you can do simple things. You're not stuck with that emotional dysregulation. You are completely in control of it, right? You're in control of yourself, even if you think you're not. So there are things that you can do about it. And this from David Hawkins, that's that Power versus Force book that I was telling you about the other day. True answers always have the hallmark of simplicity. The basic law of the universe is economy. Simple things always come first. So remember what I said. You're not going to be able to get any better at this thing that we're talking about, awakening your intuition or developing your psychic skills, unless you practice. So I never read for family and friends. We said that it's easy to read for someone you don't know, especially if it's for free, right? That's how I started. I did lots of free readings. Never read for anyone that hasn't asked you to. That's my personal belief, but you make up your own mind about that. And join my Facebook group. So it's called Channeling, Psychic and Spiritual Guidance, AUNZ. You have to fill out some questions. It's one of those group things. I'll let you in. I'm going to put a post on there. And so feel free to jump in and read. And it doesn't matter whether somebody else read for them already, you can still jump in and read for them. So let me just, no, I can't do that. And so I'll post that thing of the channeling thing. You should be able to find it. Okay, so we're going to do a quick activity just to finish off today. I hope no one's got to rush away. If you can't do this now and you've got to rush off, you can do this for homework. Don't forget, I post the PowerPoint on that page, the introduction page. So I want you to go into your personal wise mind, right? So a good way to do that, to get from your conscious mind to your wise mind, is I want you to imagine a little you, your ego, sitting on your left shoulder, and imagine another little you, your wise self, sitting on your right shoulder. Now you can visualize what they look like, right? Visualize what the ego you looks like. It might be younger, it could be whatever, cranky, anxious, whatever that ego part of you is. And the wise you could be cloaked in, robes, wise, like your higher self or something. And imagine that your ego voice comes from your left brain and your wise voice comes from your right brain. And I want you, and what you can actually do is you can flood your left brain with blue light, which is cooling and calming. It's like you were going to, freeze it, put it to sleep, sort of thing. Flood your left brain with blue light, and go to your wise, authentic self and ask your wise, authentic self questions. So I've just listed some questions here that you might want to know the answer to. It's a matter of trusting what you get. Okay, just decide you're going to trust what you get. It doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong. But you can ask yourself things like, what's my soul age? Am I a baby soul, an adult soul, or an old soul? And just write down the first thing that pops into your mind. You can ask your soul how many other lifetimes you've lived. What skills did you bring to Earth in this focus? Which one of my relatives are part of my soul family? What is one lesson you came here to learn? What your life purpose is. So they're just some examples of questions you could ask, but I'm sure you've got your own. So maybe just try one question now. Just try, what is your soul age? Are you a baby soul, an adult soul, or an old soul? And just focus on your right brain in that authentic part of yourself. Ask the question. Just go with the first thing that pops in. So that's our time today. Anyone got anything they want to share about that activity?
Yeah, can I?
Yeah.
Because thank you. Something's just happened for me when we did that activity. Is I noticed I could hear chatter on the left-hand side of my ear, and then I could hear the right answer come through my right side. Like I felt a real distinction between my left and my right side.
Cool. Yeah. Excellent. Good.
Cool.
And remember, your psychic skills develop.
Yeah.
right? That's why I use the word develop. They develop, they get stronger, you practice, you learn more, it changes. It's not always the same. It expands as you expand into it, you know? When I first started channeling, they used to tap my right ear. I get this tapping noise in my right ear, tap, tap, tap. I'm going to go, okay, all right, what? What?
Yeah.
Anybody else got anything they want to share?
No.
Yeah, Kim?
It's about the emotional body.
Yep.
I'm in Melbourne at the moment and it's very intense outside.
Yes,
so I find I'm constantly in my emotional body or in fight or flight. So I'm just wondering, is it just breath that brings you back, or
is it just what, darling?
Breath, like taking some deep breaths to sort of recenter
Yeah, so I think it's really important that you do that healing your emotions course, but breath brings you back into your body. Rubbing your thighs brings you back into your body. Clapping, like anything you can do that's physical, right? When you get caught up in those emotions and the mind, and the ego loves telling stories. Oh, it shouldn't be like this, and I shouldn't be going through this, and this is terrible, and I'm locked up, and blah, 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 blah. Right? Your ego loves telling those stories, and when you catch yourself in a story, you just say, stop. Is that helping? Is that getting you where you want to go? What is the point of that story? It's just making me feel bad, right? So thanks, ego, but I don't need it right now. And then do something. Exercise, sing, dance, breathe, play djembe, you know, go for coffee with a friend. You're probably not allowed to. You know, whatever you can do. I've got a rebounder. Jump on your rebounder. Go for a walk. Swim. Activity balances both hemispheres. So activity will always rebalance your dysregulation.
Yeah.
And of course, we can't be active all the time, right? So sometimes we distract ourselves. It's all right to watch Netflix or to write a poem or read a book or, you know, all the other things. Meditate. Meditate's good. You can calm yourself down enough to do that. So there's lots of things that you can do, and you will find that not the same thing works for you all the time. Singing might work today and it doesn't work tomorrow. One of my great songs that I sing when I'm emotionally dysregulated is the old Que Sera, Sera, right? Que Sera, Sera, whatever will be, will be. It's like my way of saying surrendering. I can't do anything about it. So what's the point of resisting it and fighting against it and creating a story around it, right? That's not me loving myself. If you had a small child and the small child was going, oh, what would you do? Well, women know what to do. Oh, sweetie, it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. You're all right. Come here. Let's go and get an ice block. Let's play a game. Distraction, right? That's what we do for kids. We distract them from their emotional pain. You've got to do that for yourself. Instead of rolling around in it, like rolling around at the pity pit in the bottom of the pond, thrashing and screaming, waiting for somebody else to get you out of the pity pit. Right? I was great at that. I used to be so good at that. And then one day I went, right, yeah, no one's going to get me out of that pity pit at the bottom of the pond except me. Yeah. Pointless, boring.
Yeah.
Awakening all the time. Anyone else with a question? Nairi.
I've got lots of questions. It's so
I don't mind staying.
Oh, okay. Or I don't want to.
If anyone wants questions asked, I'm happy to stay and answer all of your questions, but I understand if any of you have to go. So go ahead, Nairi.
Okay. So just around this emotional dysregulation, do you ever get to a point where you never fall into flight, fight, freeze, or fawn, or is it just something that you move through a lot quicker?
Okay, well, that will depend on what causes the emotional dysregulation.
Yeah.
I had a very dysfunctional family, so I had a very traumatic childhood. So my answer to that is I haven't ever stopped being emotionally dysregulated, but what's changed is what dysregulates me. So very few things dysregulate me now. And when I get emotionally dysregulated, I might have stayed there for days before or weeks in that state of emotional dysregulation, whereas now it's very short, right? So it depends on what it was, but most things it only takes me, you know, a couple of hours to get over. Sometimes it's only half an hour. Sometimes it might be overnight if it's really bad, but I always bounce back. I say I'm like a cork that keeps popping up to the top of the bottle again, right? Doesn't matter what shit things have happened to me, and I've had lots of shit things happen to me. I just bounce back.
Yeah.
And you can too. So the more you practice it, the better at it you get, the easier it is. And if you haven't had a dysfunctional childhood, you don't have complex post-traumatic stress disorder, you had nice parents who loved you, maybe, you know, you'll get rid of it completely.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I had toxic parents. So yeah, I can see myself in all those 4 areas. So, but I know I'm aware of it, and I can move, like I can start to move through it fairly.
Yeah, so a few people said at the beginning of the call that, you know, they did the personality test and they were highly neurotic. They got a really high score for neuroticism.
Yeah, okay.
And so that tells you, if you've got a highly neurotic score on that test, that you've got work to do to re-regulate your emotions. In the process of what we're talking about here, you can't do this work if you're emotionally dysregulated. Look, I taught high school for 23 years and I was emotionally dysregulated most of the time. I could do that when I was emotionally dysregulated. Maybe you can pack shelves at Woolworths when you're emotionally dysregulated. You might even still be able to cut people's hair, but you can't do this work.
Yeah.
You are emotionally dysregulated.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Anne-Marie.
Mine is about, there's a couple actually. One is medication. Does that affect reading? Because I'm on a fair bit of medication for just autoimmune conditions and also for anxiety and depression.
No.
Okay, great.
I mean, you know, we could sit here and say, well, eventually wouldn't it be nice to not be on antidepressants? But they're not going to stop you from doing a reading because they're actually necessary for you at this time. Otherwise you wouldn't be taking them, right? And so, you know, it's completely okay. No, medication is not going to.
And my other question is, you were talking about how when people read, they've got different habits, like you've got the loop thing that happens. I've noticed, and to my horror, that when I read and I do a live read, like when I had my group, that my eyes go from side to side when I'm picking up information.
Oh, that's
and I
good.
look like, and I look like a complete freak.
Okay, close your eyes, right? But from being a clinical hypnotherapist, I can tell you this, that when some people get deep into trance, their eyes flutter.
Okay.
Right, so that movement's not any different. Okay.
Okay.
But I would try not to look like a freak and I'd close my eyes.
Okay.
It doesn't look so bad when your eyes are closed, right?
No, it looks, it's very,
but it's really
very,
common because what it's saying is you're in trance, and sometimes when you're channeling and different, you know, you're incorporating or blending with different beings, then those sorts of things can happen.
Wow.
You know, there was a channeler in Queensland that I spoke to years ago who used to channel a being called Ptah, which is the Egyptian Ptah. And her nose used to run.
Oh, wow.
When she was channeling, and she hated it, right? So, you know, sometimes when you're blending with a higher being, you can do all sorts of things. There's another guy in America who channels aliens. His name's Daniel Scratton or something like that. Oh, he makes the weirdest faces. Honestly, wow. I feel embarrassed for him.
Wow. Well, I look like I'm reading words in front of me, but I don't see words in front of me at all.
Yeah, I would just close my eyes, sweetie.
Okay, and also with the automatic writing, this is just a quick one. A couple of weeks ago, one of my friends was in a bit of like she was upset, so I did a reading for her through her photo, I through Facebook message, and I just wrote in 10 minutes was this huge big reading for her. Is that automatic writing? Because I don't know how I got it all out.
Yes. So when I first started channeling, I was doing email readings. I was writing it down, but I was actually channeling. Right. Esther Hicks, who channels Abraham, started writing letters with the end of her nose.
Oh, right? Wow.
Jane Roberts started writing when she started channeling Seth. If anyone knows Seth, she started writing. That happens quite a lot. Like it comes through in words. Somebody else typed. I can't remember who that was. Somebody started typing. That's another way of channeling, is typing. And I type at 100 words a minute practically, because I was, a secretary when I was 15 or 16.
Yeah.
So it was easy for me to do that, and that's how I would do it. So it's actually channeling.
Okay. And also, I've got a guide that comes through to me, and she's come through quite a few times. Her name is, I can't ever get her name right, but it's like Sheena or Shira. But I've Googled it, and she's not anyone I've ever heard before.
Yeah, but that doesn't matter. I'd never heard of the goddess Mart before I got that name. Hang on, let me just tune into it and see what I can pick up for you. Just hold on a sec. I'm getting Shenara, and I'm spelling it Shenara.
Oh, wow.
It's one of your guides.
Wow.
So that's just a name. Remember, when we're talking about spirit, we're talking about tone. And so names have tone, sound has tone. And so this is a name that you knew her by in another lifetime that you two shared together, which was ancient civilization times.
Wow. That's amazing.
And you knew her by that name. And now she is discarnate at the time that you were incarnated. And so you're picking up that name.
Wow.
So names can be really hard to get, especially when you first start. Some people are good at it and some aren't.
Yeah.
I'm kind of getting better at it, I suppose, as I develop my skills. But yeah, it's good to have a name for one of your guides.
Thank you so very much. That's amazing. Thank you.
No worries. Anyone else got a question? Biara.
In regards to picking up names, I try to channel a spirit guide, and one of it came through to me, but I'm not sure. It was an archangel, but I was wondering if you could confirm if it's the right name.
So what name did you get?
It was like, Azazel, or something like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, wait. So archangels have specific names, and you can actually look them up. It's Ezekiel, I think. I've actually got a book with all the archangels in it, so I'm pretty sure you could probably Google it, but just Google it and get the right spelling. Often this is the problem with getting names, that it's hard to do, so you get part of the name, but then our conscious mind wants to spell it and wants to know who it is and all that sort of stuff. So I suggest you Google it, but something like that. I think it's Ezekiel. And so Google it and then find out about that particular archangel. They all have specific roles or jobs.
And there was one other spirit guide. Someone had mentioned to me that one of my ancestors is with me. I just wanted to know if it was grandfather William Mullinger.
Okay, hang on. No, so it is an ancestor of your particular tribe, but not that close. So it's way, way back, like an older ancestor that's around you.
Widget?
Yeah, that sounds right to me. Yep.
Widget.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, our dead relatives are around us, and we can often call them in, and but they don't very often act as your actual guides. Everyone's got 2 or 3 spirit guides, and they're not your relatives because they've been with you since birth. Anybody else? Does anyone else have a question? No? Okay, go for it, Biara.
Oh no, I was just wondering because he had presented himself twice, so I thought he was eager to connect.
Yeah. So one of your guides, but not one of your main guides. But just in that moment, I'm being told that was, it was easy for him to connect with you because of the situation that you're in. Yep. But you still have, a couple of other guides around you. So ascended masters aren't your guides; they're just beings that are around us. So we've all got, I like to call it a team. Got a team in spirit around us.
Yep.
Guardian angel, 2 or 3 spirit guides. Entities that want to work with us, work through us. That happens.
One last question before I finish. What does it mean when we activate our palm chakras without any attunement, Reiki attunement or anything like that?
Okay, good question. So I put all the chakras on the introduction page, but I didn't put the palms, right? You've got other chakras around you. For instance, you've got that soul star chakra at the top of your head, which is your important connection to source for channeling and all that other stuff, right? For your spirit guides. So that's your soul star. You've also got chakras in your hands. You've got chakras in the bottom of your feet. So the ones in your hands, you can activate them just by doing that, right? Or rubbing your hands together activates them. So when I did when you do pranic healing or Reiki, you do energy healing and you want to activate the chakras in your hands, just rub your hands together and intend that you're activating the chakras in your hands. And then everybody, can do that. Everybody, you should be able to feel the energy between your hands. Has anybody done Reiki? A couple of people.
I'm a Reiki master.
Yeah. So you can feel the energy. Anybody else? No other questions? Okay, someone sent me a message. Hang on. Okay. Michelle, can you stay behind when everyone else goes and we'll have a chat about that? If you've got time, sweetie. Okay. All right. That's it for this week. And remember, so people have been asking me about homework. I'm putting everything on that introduction page. The more invested you are in your own growth, the more work you will do. But the most important things this week, ego, noticing and observing your ego and being able to differentiate between when you're in your ego and just saying to yourself, oh, hello, ego, there you are. Don't beat it up. Don't rouse on it. Don't feel bad about it. Just recognize that you're in your ego and then search for your higher, wiser mind, which is always present with you, right? But it's the still, quiet voice within. The ego is always louder and more insistent. That's why we listen to it more. So do some of that ego practice. Emotional regulation, if you get triggered, get yourself out of it, see what you can do, what works for you. You should be building yourself up a list of things that work for you to when you get emotionally dysregulated and stick it on your fridge so that when you get dysregulated, you can look at the fridge and go, right, what can I do right now to take care of myself and make myself feel better? And meditation. So the meditation that I put on the website for you on that introduction page is Master Chow Kok Sui's meditation on twin hearts. It would be really good if you could do it at least once between now and next week, right? Because it's activating your chakras, cleaning your chakras, and getting you channeling, right? You're channeling energy, which is no different than channeling messages, right? Same. So it's getting you in practice for that. We're going to keep moving forward and doing more exercises. Oh, and also I'm going to put that post. Don't forget to go over and can I put it in the chat now? Hang on a minute. No, that wasn't the right button. It was the wrong button. It's right. Okay. Here we go. I'm just going to share the Facebook page. Okay, so it's Facebook groups, Channelers Australia. Now that's my group page. Go over, I've got heaps of requests, maybe it's you. Yes, there you are, Nairi. Okay, so some people have found it. So go over and join that page. I'm going to put a post on there just for you guys. I'm going to ask anybody who wants a reading to write a question. And I want you to go over there. No right or wrong. They're not paying, so it doesn't matter whether you get it wrong. Go over there and answer questions. If you have questions you want answered, put a post on there for each other, right? You can also be a question asker as well as a question answerer. Post a question or a photo or whatever it is you want to do and practice with each other on there. Practice reading. And don't forget to give feedback, right? Always say thank you and be grateful. But remember what your job is in being a reader, right? It's to uplift somebody, not to drag them down. Never say anything cruel. Don't say anything fearful. Always be kind and compassionate, right? Because that is your wise, authentic self is always that. So then you know that you're really connecting with higher guidance when you're being loving. So ask questions, answer them for each other, answer anybody else's questions. The more practice you get, the better. Okay? How does that sound? Let me go back to the full screen. Somehow. Oh, don't know what buttons to push. Terrible. Okay, so are we all good? Thank you so much. I've had such a great time with you all again. Thank you for making my Sunday more fun, more enjoyable. I hope you've got some good things out of it. Don't forget to have a journal or diary and write in it. Write what you're learning that you want to remember. That's always a good learning skill, especially if you have trouble learning things. Write them down. And I will see you next week at the same time.
Thank you, Ria. That was fantastic again.
Thanks, Ria. That was amazing. I now have right and left hearing. Awesome.
Ria, before you go, have you got any other courses that you're thinking of doing? Because I don't want this one to end.
Well, I was going to do that at the end of it. Let's wait till we get to the end and then see where we want to take it. And I'm happy to continue doing something to keep nurturing you along. But we'll get to the end of this and then we'll do a stock take and see where we are. How does that sound?
Thank you so much. I'll see you next week.
Okay. All right.
See you, ladies.
Bye-bye. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Ria, do you have the details of where you got your water filter from? Because I'm in Newcastle.
Oh, I ordered it online. I'll send you the link.
Yeah.
I'll write it down here. It's Nairi, isn't it? I'll send you the link where I got it from. I ordered it online, it arrived, and then I had a plumber put it in. Not very hard to put in. And if you've got a husband, he might be able to do it.
I don't have one of those.
Brother.
Or a single. I've got a plumber. I have a plumber.
Yeah, okay. I'll send you the link. Because you have to buy every year they send me an email saying it's time for you to buy your new filters, and it's like $100 or something for the new filters for the year.
Yeah. I drink copious amounts of water, so I'm calcifying my pineal gland.
Yeah, and so it takes a while for your pineal gland to heal once you stop drinking it. But there are things that you can do. Breathing light in through your temples into your pineal gland, right?
Yeah.
Like you can be clearing it, just doing that. Breathing light in. Right?
Yeah. Breathing.
Okay.
Thank you.
No worries.
All right. Have a great week.
You too. Bye.
Bye. I'm leaving. Leave.
Hey, Michelle.
Hello.
So tell me what's going on with you.
I'm not quite sure. Even in the group, normally in a group situation, I'm very much like more energy and more passion and excitement. And I just feel like when you were going through those emotional blockages things, you know, you were saying signs where you're not blocked, but you're off, where you can't read in that case. I feel like I'm going through a lot of those at the minute.
Okay. So what's going on in your life?
I find it hard to explain, but I'm not as interested in like I normally love to dance, and even the past couple of dance classes I'm not sort of like I'm not feeling it as much as normal. I'm sort of withdrawn, and I don't really want to make that much conversation, whereas I normally would. And
okay,
I'm just not feeling excited.
So is there something going on in your life right now that is causing your distress, or do you not can't identify anything?
Yeah, like, the fact that I can't fly home to see my family is one thing. Like my direction in life, like I want to do more of what I love and do more readings or do more things that excite me and light me up. And I feel like I'm doing the nanny stuff just to keep the money coming in at the minute. There's a lot of things. The visa, I've got this visa thing coming up where we're putting in a lot of information together so that I can apply for a partner visa. There's a number of things. I don't want to overwhelm you with them, but I don't even know. I was sat there not knowing whether even to send the message to you, you know, because I don't know what the answer is.
So I'd say that you are being dysregulated, and that is making you freeze. Right, that's what we do when we're dysregulated and we freeze. We self-abandon. We don't want to do anything. We find, you know, it's like depression. We don't find joy in things. You know, so it sounds to me like, for whatever's going on in your life right now, your needs aren't particularly being met, and things that you need to make yourself feel good in life, you're not getting that, right? And that's emotionally dysregulated you. And so you need to go into radical self-care. You need to understand that you might not always understand what's triggered you, but something has triggered you. And so you need to do the work of taking care of yourself, being kind to yourself, not trying to push yourself to do things when you don't really feel like it, right? But just always, you know, asking your higher self, what can I do? What do I want to do right now? You know what I mean? And just allow yourself to move into that space of sort of surrendering a little bit to the feeling, right? I know it's hard to learn some of the things that we're doing when we're doing like activities and stuff when you're not feeling great, but there's still benefit in getting all the information and knowledge that I'm giving you and hearing other people's questions. And so you can still do all that stuff, you know. Don't beat yourself up, like don't push yourself too hard, right? Just do what you can do, and the course will be online, and so you can always go back later and do it again, you know, have another go at it in the quiet of your own space. But I'd say that that's what I'm feeling when I'm feeling into your energy. You feel emotionally dysregulated to me, and I think it's like, you know, more about your family and the situation that you're living in at the moment. That's And so, look, you know, there are times when we all go through bad stuff. You know, that's what life is. We have trials and tribulations. And so, you know, don't waste too much energy trying to decide what it is if there's nothing you can do about it. If there's something you can do about it, then, you know, use your rational conscious mind to solve the problem for you. But if there's nothing you can do about it, the only thing you can do is take care of yourself and love yourself through it. And know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It's not always going to be like this, that you're feeling something that is only in the moment. It's not forever. And this too shall pass. That's another one of my favorite sayings. This too shall pass, because it will. And you're extremely talented. You've got lots and lots of great talents there, right? But you know, there's a bit of self-doubt coming up in you because of the way you're feeling. You're not necessarily on top of your game right now, are you?
No, I'm not sure whether just to throw myself online later and do like readings with people, like with my cards, not myself, just to, I don't know. I feel like I'm hiding away from the world at the minute, and I don't want to be. I'm bored of myself. I'm bored of even looking in the mirror going, for fuck's sake, I'm over this feeling already. Like, I'm trying to think, what can I do to fix it?
I honestly feel that when I am down and not feeling good, being there for others is the thing that makes me feel the best. Like I can be feeling like shit. And I get myself amped up to go online with somebody to do counseling or a reading or whatever. And I feel wonderful at the end of it. But sometimes taking the focus off yourself and trying to help others, right, is, you know, we know that about people who are depressed. We know that works. So I would, if I were you, you know, especially if you have, you know, time and the desire to do some free readings or, you know, help someone else, that will uplift you and make you feel better. So I definitely keep doing that.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Okay, I'll let you go because you need to get off and have your break. You've been on for